Hello and welcome to our sponsor of the month section of the show. This is a part of the show where we give our sponsors an opportunity to talk about what they do. We have decided to come up with this new idea because we're not paid, but the show does need maintaining. I'm always looking for ways to generate a bit of money just to keep up with the mics and buy new stands and cables and things. So we come up with this idea where somebody can acquire a month slot as our sponsor for a small fee, of course. And our very own Jules Fox has agreed to be our sponsor of the month this month. Hi, Jules.
Hi.
All right.
Yep.
So thank you very much for agreeing to do this as our first sponsor. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about what you do. Do you want to introduce us to who you are and what you do?
Sure. And thanks very much for the opportunity. So for the business sponsor of the month, which is going to be for the month of December, it made sense that I could be the first one that would trial this. So as Alex has said, for a small fee, what I will get is a mention at the beginning and the end of each show that's released, Crumb and Biscuit, for December only. And the business that I do is Fox and Hounds dog walking and pet visiting services.
Yes. It's a brilliant idea. And also as well, once the website's up and running, which it will be soon, you'll get, if you send us in the logo, we'll put it onto the website as well.
Cool.
As one of our sponsors.
And I get out obviously on the Facebook page as well, don't I? So it's just that link. So, I mean, I basically operate sort of around the north part of the town in Shrewsbury, sort of Wem, Shawbury, Clive, Hadnall, that sort of area. I've got some clients sort of down on the Aylesmere Road.
And what services do you offer then? So
dog walking, solo and group, and pet visiting. So drop in, sit with pets, or just let them out. New puppies and pet sort of taxi, so I can take pets. And when I say pets, it doesn't have to be dogs. It can be cats, it can be rats, ferrets, bunnies, whatever.
An iguana.
Yep, to the vets or doggy daycare or to family and friends. So, but I mean, at the moment, what I'm picking up most at the moment is solo walks. Yeah. Because I'm picking up some sort of dogs that are reactive, or not reactive, but just a little bit nervous around other dogs. So, open for more business. Still got a couple of days free of the week to use up.
So Margaret's 62 that's got a giant bull mastiff that can't quite deal with.
Yeah. And obviously with the weather now, the weather turning and we're getting more icy pavements, even if someone just wants me to walk their dog just over the winter or over the next couple of months, but then go back to do it themselves, I'm happy to help out. I don't need necessarily long-term clients, just short bursts even.
Okay. Well, that's really good. Where can people find you?
So I am on Facebook, Fox and Hounds Dog Walking and Pet Visiting Services, not Fox and Hounds, the pub in Shawbury, which is what I feel.
They offer a different service.
So, so I'm on Facebook. I will be soon on Instagram once I've worked out how to do that. I'm on the usual. So I've got this business cards dotted up around town. There's business cards here, and obviously through you guys for the month of December. So, and I'll be the showcase for other businesses. So, I suppose from a biscuit point of view, we are looking for the next business that wants to be business sponsor of the month for January.
For January, yeah. So please, people, if you do want to become a part of the show just for a month and let us sing your praises, talk about what you do, and let people know where you are, get in touch with us. You can email us, and our email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. We really do look forward to hearing off you. It's a great little idea. It's a cheap little bit of advertising, and we do advertise the heck out of you because you'll be part of every single show we release for that month. And with the biscuit and the crumbs, you're looking at probably between 6 and 8 shows a month.
Yep,
which
perfect.
is great.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much, Julie. I wish you all the luck, and we'll come up with something at the beginning of every show just to be like Foxes and Hounds, pet walking and group. And
don't worry, I'll write it down for you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye. Perfect.
Yeah, I think it
The
That'll
levels.
really throw him.
I always do that when I'm working with bands and it throws them because you can't say everything.
Well, Shane's got this habit of going boom. I'm like, Shane.
Be quiet.
And he knows I've got like really acute hearing, so he'll be like down the mic and I'll be like, that's horrible, that's really terrible. Okay. So I've hit record. We have been recording for the last 25 seconds.
25 seconds. That's it, then we'll go home, shall we? You've got it.
Welcome everybody to the show. I am your host, Alex Whiteley, and joined with me is Jules.
Jules Fox.
Jules. And our special guest today is the world's tallest town crier. Is that correct?
The world's tallest town crier. That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that's Martin Wood. Thank you so much. Yay.
Welcome.
We should bring in some candle-like applause and audience.
I know. I feel like I need a drum roll, but I don't have a drum.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody's saying, rubbish, get him off.
I feel like with you, actually, Jules, we should try and up the ante every week. It's the Jules Fox. Like we were talking about wrestling intros.
I'll save that for Christmas.
Yeah, and you brought your missus along as well. Nice to see you. I don't think I know your name. Sorry, Sue.
Welcome, Sue.
Lovely to have you both here. Thank you very much for joining us. I've got a bit of housework to do, a few shout-outs to do before we get on with the show. One of which is the Prison Fair. It's every year. They do a Christmas fair there. You can use the stalls. Is it the stalls they use to?
Well, this year I think they're using the education block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's an opportunity there to go and sell your stuff at the Christmas fair. That's on the 7th of December. We'll go and have a look. Go and have a look there. It's really good. Also, as well, did you see my picture on For the Love of Shrewsbury? I don't know if you see anything on For the Love of Shrewsbury. I took a picture of a phone box.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the defibrillator.
Yeah, the other day I took a picture of it. I was on top of Castle Street. And I was walking past and I stopped and I was like, I'm going to take a picture of this. But I had a quick scan around because I thought I'm going to look like a right tourist here. But yeah, they've taken one of the red. I don't know how long it's been there. It's probably been there for a year, and I've walked past it.
I don't recall walking past it, and I walked down there recently, but.
I took a picture of phone. They got a defibrillator now in one of the red phone boxes. I thought it was great. I want to say thank you to Tat FB as well, who dropped off some amazing artwork, which is hanging up on our walls here.
Yep.
It's not framed because I don't want to put any nails in the wall, so I just put some blue tack, and they look really nice where they are. Actually, they look really great.
And if you're trying to put a nail through the window, it could probably break.
Yeah. I don't think the guys here at the parade will appreciate us chipping their plasterboard. And also, finally, we need to say a huge congratulations to Amanda Cartwright, who won the Monopoly game. We did the competition.
Oh,
the like
congratulations,
and share.
Amanda.
It was Shane. The most awkward Facebook Live competition draw ever. He was he gave everyone a number. He found a program to do that. And that number went for a number generator, so that's the best way. It's like a raffle, Yeah. And he was like, "Okay, we're going to do this in 5, 4, 3, 2. Actually, do you?" And he pulled his daughter over, and he was like, "Would you like to press the button?" She was like, "No." And then he did it. When he did it, it came out as number 1. All that number 1 came out, and that was Amanda, and Amanda won the game. So she owns her very own version of Shrewsbury Monopoly, which is awesome. Congratulations. Now down to business. Business. Martin.
Hello.
How are you, sir? How have you been?
I'm well. Yeah, fine. Thank you very much indeed. Bearing up.
Busy time of the year for you? Is it time Christmas?
It's always busy.
Really?
Yeah, it's always busy. I mean, in all honesty, the only time that it really quietens down is January.
Okay.
Because everybody's still drunk from Christmas.
Or broke.
Or broke, or both. Overfed and all the rest of it. So January tends to be a quiet month.
Do you look forward to that, or do you miss it, like when you're not doing your...
It's different, really. It depends if Sue keeps shouting at me. Isn't it, Dan?
He's going to get a clip around the ear in a minute.
Yeah. Any minute now. No, it's nice to have a bit of time off. So, catch up on a few jobs, bits and pieces like that. But, I mean, the whole year really is busy.
Yeah, that's good, though. I mean, it keeps you busy and it gives you some... And you're loved by everybody. Everybody loves the town crier.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of these things, I suppose. I mean, so many people have said, you've made the job your own sort of thing, which I suppose in a way I have. Yeah. I mean, when I first started, I was only supposed to do 18 hours a year.
A year?
A year.
You definitely do more than that.
So, I do a little bit more than that now. So the idea was that I would do 1 hour every Saturday during the main tourist season. Mm-hmm. And that would be it. But it's it's just sort of snowballed.
So when did you start?
Started 35 years ago, so that was 85.
Holy smokes, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was going to ask how long is the tenure, but obviously there isn't one. It's just...
no, I mean, I just keep going.
Yeah.
No wonder people appreciate what you've been doing.
They do. I mean, it's nice when you're sort of out and about and, people just come past and say, doing a good job, keep going.
Do you get kids come up to you and ask to being like, can you do a cry for us?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
Hear you. We're on the sweet aisle in Aston.
Or they'll sort of come and they'll sort of say, can I ring your bell?
Oh, brilliant.
And I mean, I have to say no because I mean my bell weighs just over 12.5 pounds.
Wow. Does it?
Yeah. It's the largest handled bell that's made in the country.
I guess it has to be.
That's obviously because everyone recognises you, don't they? Even if they didn't recognise you facially, everyone just knows you from your height.
Oh yes, yeah. So I can't, I mean, it's quite an expensive bell, so I can't let anybody just sort of pick it up because I mean, especially with the kids, I mean, if they pick it up and think, oh, this is heavy, and they drop it.
Yeah, of course. If that gets damaged, definitely.
Can I just interrupt, by the way? And I forgot to mention that these chocolates here have been very kindly given us by Laura Clark and Rich from Lefevre Chocolates. They dropped us off some chocolates for Christmas, and I said I would do an on-air taste test. So by all means, have a chocolate.
We need some people to help taste them with us.
I'll help.
Exactly.
Yeah, so please help yourself. I'm gonna have one. I'm gonna put one right here.
Have the white one, I mean, would you like one, dear? I'll pass them over to my wife first, and she can have a chocolate.
Right now, I've got a white ball chocolate.
Congratulations.
Brilliant, love it.
I got a ball with crunchy bits.
Okay, let's up that. Sue, what have you got?
What have you got?
Beautiful.
Don't speak with the mouthful.
I'm going to have a look underneath and see if there's a label guide.
So she turns the box over and they all fall on the floor.
I'm definitely not going to. I'll go for the one with reindeer on it. There you go. I'll go for a Christmassy one.
There we go. There is one.
Oh.
The one I had was a cappuccino one. I've got a thing for eating on the show now. I don't know what it is. The other day it was like a humbug. And you've been doing this 35 years. Mm-hmm. And so obviously you haven't been doing this forever. What was your early life like in Shrewsbury? I take it you're from Shrewsbury originally, or?
Well, I was actually born in Wem.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
But managed to dig my way out when I was about 5. Nobody knows I'm missing yet. Born in Wem, came into Shrewsbury, went to school.
Yeah, where did you go to school?
Cranmore Junior School, then I went to Belvedere.
Okay.
Belvedere Rehabilitation Centre. It was known as Belvedere Boys School. People that were with me will know why we call it the Rehabilitation Centre. Just ask the mayor. And then when I left school, spent 12 months or so working at Safeways in Abbey Foregate. Then moved up to the Copthorne Hospital and here at the RSI. I worked here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was here I was with the Health Authority altogether for 7 years. So 5 years was here. My office is now the ladies' loo.
So in the basement here?
So down in the basement here. So when you ladies go to the loo, you can sit around, you can look around and think, oh yeah, Martin, quite a nice room here. It's quite good.
I'll remember that for next time I go in there then. We need one of these Martin was here
That's
once.
it, yes, yeah.
We were talking to Stan on the last show about this place and how weird it must look, if you worked here, how weird it must be for you still just to walk around here.
Yeah, totally. Sorry, I just got a nut in me there. Yeah, I mean, it obviously it's changed, tremendously. But lovely place to work, though.
Yeah, I bet.
Really great. I mean, we used to have great fun here because we used to have one of the old porters who used to have the mortuary trolley.
Right.
So we used to phone down to the porter's lodge and we said, right, there's a patient to be collected, body to be collected from the top ward. So he'd come out with his trolley and he'd put it in the lift and he'd go up to the top floor, pull the trolley out of the lift, then he'd go onto the ward to make sure that, because in those days they'd put the curtains around all the beds.
Yeah.
Make sure all the curtains were around. Of course, he goes onto the ward and they said, well, no, we haven't got anybody. Oh, right. So, because he had one speed, which was stop. That was it. And so he came out, by the time he came back out into the corridor, we nicked his trolley and we shoved it back in the lift and we sent it down to the next floor. So he then spent the next couple of hours trying to find this mortuary trolley. And every time we went down, we were sending up or down. We used to have great fun,
That's the sort of like fun and games that you probably can't get away with a lot of days now, can you?
No. But it was nice because we'd be doing that, and then eventually the matron would come out, and she said, let him have his trolley back. Yes, miss. But she'd have a big grin on her face. She was great. She really was fantastic.
Is it the sort of things where the patients were in on it as well and knew
That's
what
it, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they used to do. But it was a lovely place to work in those days.
Yeah.
So you're a bit of a scamp then, eh?
Just a little,
Mind you are right. I mean, even back as far as 2009, I moved to Telford. And I'm in Shrewsbury now, obviously, but I remember I worked at Asda. I woke up on a banana crate, like a pallet. Yeah. I just gone on a night out and just somehow got to work and just woke up to my friend Jay's throwing strawberries at my head. You couldn't get away with that now, obviously. No. So what happened? How did you become the town crier? What was the process there?
Well, really, it was. I mean, I've been a historical guide in Shrewsbury now for about 38 years.
Oh, okay.
And Sue and I had got married. We knew the then sort of town manager sort of thing. He was Seb Craig was his name. He owned he didn't own it, but he ran the sort of all the tourism board and the music, the music hall and the museums and stuff. He then left. Somebody else came in, took over. At the time, I'd been working at a physically handicapped centre in Shrewsbury, which is where I met Sue.
Yeah.
We got married. Then I was listening to local Midlands radio because I'd been made redundant from my job. Listening to local radio, and they said, Shrewsbury looking for a town crier. I thought, how stupid. What a ridiculous job. And as I said, we'd had this new tourism officer and she'd come up from south. And she said, with all the old buildings and stuff, it'll look brilliant.
Yeah.
So I said, well, can I apply for the job? Which I did. Didn't hear anything for the next couple of weeks. So I thought, okay, somebody else has got it. And then she phoned me up and she said, we've got the flower show coming up. If we find you some sort of a regalia, would you like to sort of, act as a town crier at the show? Which I jumped at the chance because in those days, as a youngster, if you could get into the flower show without paying,
of course,
your street cred went through the roof,
Yeah.
So I thought, because it meant I could get in for nothing, which is great. So we had a regalia made, which was basically it resembled an old army blanket, which was dyed red, and then they just cut it round a little bit and chucked it over my head. I had brown knee breeches from my Morris Dance days.
All right.
And we found a very, very small bell, only about 3 inches high, which was like a little tinkly thing,
Ding, 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 ding.
Couldn't find the tricorn because there were no tricorn hat makers in the Yellow Pages in those days. So they made one out of paper mache.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, painted it black. And of course, if paper mache gets wet, it gets
of course.
and sort of quite often in the flower show it rains.
Yeah.
So that was my sort of, that was a regalia that I had. And I was giving away these leaflets on Shrewsbury, and this councillor came round and he said, would you like to do a shout? He said, the mayor's walking round. I said, yeah, what do you want me to say? He said, oh, anything. Think of something. Okay. So I just dong the tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. And my lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shrewsbury Fire Show. Have a lovely day. Started to rain, so I dived back inside. He came back in, he said, that's lovely. He said, the mayor's very, very impressed. And he said, the job's yours.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you. You know, he said it'll be ratified at the next mayor making, which is in the May.
Yeah.
The following May. And so we went to that, and sort of, you know, they did all the other bits and pieces, and they said, you know, item number 14, you know, so the appointment of a town crier. All those in favour say aye. Yeah. And it was only after that they told me I was the only one that applied for the job in any
case. Had Shrewsbury had a town crier before then, or so?
Yes.
It wasn't a brand new post?
Oh no, it wasn't
created.
brand new. I mean, the first town crier we had in Shrewsbury appeared in 1296.
And that's what I was going to ask: is the history of town crier? So it's been a prominent thing.
Yeah, I mean. Well, Shrewsbury was 1296, but we can now trace the job back to about 2,500 years BC. They've recently opened a pyramid to a chap called Mur, I think that's how you pronounce it, and there are pictures on the walls of the pyramid and hieroglyphics and stuff, which they say are actually sort of heralds, which is another name for a town crier. So we can sort of trace a job back to 2,500 years.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Isn't
I mean,
it?
I thought 1,200 was a.
I was impressed with 1,200.
Yeah, 1296 was the first sort of known crier that we had.
Yeah.
Then everything sort of quieted down a little bit then. And then back in the 1400s, we had a chap called John Calverhall, who really we look on him as the great-great-granddaddy of all town criers in Shrewsbury. And really went through then till about 1945, when a chap called Jack Ramsey, he was the last town crier, that's the official cry for Shrewsbury. He died. He had 11 children, but none of them wanted to take on the job. So sadly, the job sort of died with him.
Right.
Until I came along and we started it all over again.
So there was a significant gap then. You were the next sort of... Right, okay.
I mean, you know, there was 60-odd years, something like that before I came about.
Well, so like when you first got the role, did that, include you going around the house, annoying your wife, practicing cries? She's nodding.
Did you have to have an
ask my wife
audition?
that, but I think yes is the general answer to that one. Yeah, but
I can just imagine just pouring the
Sue, pour me a cup of tea.
yeah. People used to say to our next door neighbours, you know, isn't it noisy living next door to the town crier?
Brilliant.
But no, I mean the first year was reasonably quiet, work-wise. Then I had a phone call from a chap from BBC Midlands Today, and he said, "We'd like to come and do a story on you." I said, "Yeah, okay, fine." And he said, we've been looking at the records. He said, and we think you're actually the world's tallest town crier. So okay, fine. So they came over and they did an interview with me in town. And then once I'd done that and that had gone out, the phone started ringing, and never looked back since, really.
So are you in the Guinness Book of Records as well then?
I'm not actually in the book, although I have been recognised by the powers that be, by the Guinness that I am the tallest.
Yeah.
I went over to Belgium back in 1989 to do World Championships, and we went down to Victoria Station, bus station in London, and there was going to be a bus there that was going to take us over. And this guy came up to me and he said, "Are you Martin Wood from Shrewsbury?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "My name's Redmond O'Colonies," which was actually his name. Brilliant guy. He said, "I was the world's tallest town crier."
Oh, no.
I said, "Oh, right, And I said, how tall are you? He said, 6'4". I said,
That's not
rubbish.
tall.
That's not tall. Yeah, get on with it. And we became firm friends until he passed away a couple of years ago.
So for our listeners abroad and far away that don't know, how tall are you?
7'2".
7'2".
That's two. I just want to go. You said World Championships in Belgium, is there?
Yeah.
So there's a World Championships for
There is
town criers.
indeed. Yes, there is.
So what does that involve?
Shouting, really.
And is it who shouts the loudest, or is it who is the? It's got to be more than that, surely.
Yeah. We have each competition, because there are local competitions, national competitions, European competitions, and World Championships as well. And we go out. We're judged obviously on volume.
Yeah.
One of them. But there's volume, there's clarity, content of the cry, poise and bearing. The way that you handle your devices.
Oh, okay.
Which is a nice
That's
one.
your bell, obviously.
In case anybody
not
wonders.
technological devices.
No, aims for the smelling salts. And how you sort of interact with the crowd as well.
Oh, wow.
So what you generally have to do at the competitions is the first round is what they call hometown cry. So that is a cry all about your town. So you basically go to wherever you are and sort of, I bring greetings from the people of Shrewsbury and whatever. Then you launch into sort of, Shrewsbury is famous for its river, Brother Cadwell, whatever,
Yeah.
So that's your first round cry. Then you get into the second round and the third round as well are cries where they give you a theme.
Okay.
So you then they'll give you the theme, so you then have to research it, obviously.
Yep.
And then you have to make up this cry. The cries have to be a minimum of 120 words and a maximum
quite a
of
lot.
140.
A bit like Twitter.
Actually, I suppose if you're used to talking a lot, probably 120 is not a lot, is it?
Yeah, because when you think you've got to start with the three OYAs,
Yeah.
then you finish with God Save the Queen.
Okay.
So that's 7 words out of the way.
Yeah, that's
straight
true,
off.
yeah.
So it's although you say 120 words, that's not a lot.
No.
So you have all that lot. So you have these sort of themed cries as well that you have to do. And then if you get through to the finals, then the finals can be a choice of one of the 3 cries that you've done before.
Oh, right.
So it's basically like Miss World, but for town crier.
Yeah, a little bit like Miss World, but without the high heels.
Yeah. Which you don't need anyway.
Which I don't need. No.
So how far have you got in that competition before? Have you got through to?
Well, the highest ranking that I've got was 3rd in the world.
Oh, wow.
I've been competing in competitions now for 31 years. And in all the competitions, I've never been out of the top 10.
Oh, that's
So
excellent.
I've been sort of,
Probably because they're like, I don't want to mess with him. Because
Well,
look how
yeah,
big he
something
is.
like that. You just look down at the judges and say, give me good points. Yeah. You're fine. Anything you like, fill them out yourself.
So obviously you travel around then for those, because wherever they're held, you're held. But have you ever been involved in, I don't even know what to call this, like a crier exchange? So have you
Like a
been asked to do something in another city, in another country somewhere?
Oh, yes, yeah. I mean, I've been to Holland, Belgium, Germany, Canada, America. Shrewsbury's twin town used to be Zutphen over in Holland. And I went out, I was actually the town crier for Zutphen as well. And I went over to take part in the Dutch national championships over there.
All right.
And of course, one of the things they had to do over there, of course, is you had to cry in Dutch.
I was just about to say, do you have to switch your language?
Yeah, so I had to switch the language on that one. And I actually won it.
Oh, wow.
I won the Dutch national championships.
You're
Beating
from the Bajug.
Is that beating the Dutch as well? That's brilliant.
Yeah. We did one of the World Championships in Belgium. So we had to cry in Flemish.
Wow.
In that one. But that one was really, really difficult. But what they actually did to start with, they said, well, the Flemish crier will do the cry first, and then you copy what he said.
Right.
Oh, okay, fine. So we got it sort of written down. And of course, he went into all this, Goedemorgen, and all the rest of it. And I just stepped up and I said, whatever he said.
Brilliant.
But then we had to go back and read it all over again. But so it's you do sort of
do you guys have like a secret language, a secret like way of communicating with each other that people wouldn't normally get, like certain words that people? You know what I mean?
Not really. I mean, we're just idiots.
Certain terminology.
Yeah, I mean, our sort of main terminology is just in case instead of people saying, "You're all right," "Oh yeah, oh yeah." But no, we're all great friends. Everybody, and I mean, so we have tremendous fun on.
I had Facebook no idea it was such a big world. I really had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, and ladies, yes, yeah. We do allow ladies in as well. We have got Lady Town Crier.
Very progressive. Since when? Since when did that come in?
Since ever, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I suppose if, like you say, if you've got the voice, the clarity, the content, the presence, all of that sort of stuff, then I suppose it shouldn't really matter.
I mean, the only thing we say, of course, is that sort of because like some places, they want a town crier. Well, if a fella doesn't apply for the job, but the lady does, then the chances are that she'll get the job. But at a competition, it's a case of, well, there's no sort of, okay, well, because she's a lady, we'll give her an extra 10 points as a start.
Of course.
It's a level playing field. And although she may not gain so many points volume-wise, diction and inflection, stuff like that, could be better. Yeah. So it matches.
They've got any presentation as well?
Yeah. I mean, one lady, one of the first lady criers I met, a lady called Doris. She was a lovely lady. She came from Portland Bill. Okay. When I was introduced, they said if ever the foghorn on the lighthouse breaks down, they send for Doris. And I just had a good laugh. And then she went on the podium and she did her cry, and I thought, they're not wrong, because her voice was massive. It really was huge voice, really powerful. I
can believe that. I can believe that. When I do something wrong, I get Alex. Alex.
Sue would make a great town crier.
Is there? I mean, I know you said there's the Shrewsbury granddaddy of town criers, but who's the world's most famous town crier? I mean, that's
probably
apart from yourself.
Yeah, probably a chap called Martin Wood, I suppose. I don't know, because it's not a sort of a widely known thing. I mean, like you get footballers and
of course.
There's probably one for every town, isn't there? The city is Chester.
Yeah, well, yes, there used to be. I mean, when I started, there was 65 criers in the country.
In the UK?
In the UK. But if you go back to the late 1700s, early 1800s, there were close on 5,000. And it's just because towns have started to modernise themselves and want to get rid of things. And one of the things to go was a town crier, unfortunately, because obviously you got sort of, I mean, originally they were the ones that told everybody the news.
Yeah, of course.
And then William Caxton went off on a booze cruise to Germany, and he saw this thing called a printing press. Yeah. And he brought one over to this country and made his own. So more and more people were starting to read and write.
Yeah, of course.
And then Marconi and Phillips and people like that invented the radio so people could then listen to the news.
It's a different media then, isn't it? That's coming out together.
Totally, yeah. And each of these things, you've got the television, now you've got the internet, you can see news happening before it even happens. Yeah. Really, So each of these inventions really knock the importance of a town crier.
Yeah. So how many are left in the UK now then that you're aware of?
Well, in the UK now, there's about 250.
So it's gone back up?
Oh, it's starting to go back up now, yeah.
More as a tourist attraction type thing, though, than an actual sort of specific job role.
I'm thinking about this, and do you know what? A town crier is effectively an early day podcast.
Yeah,
true.
Think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Hear ye.
Yeah. That's it.
Today's news, goodbye,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, it was, but because all this sort of, fantastic, social media and stuff that's come on board now, you don't actually need the town crier. So
you should do a YouTube channel where you do a daily cry.
I think the neighbours would complain about that, wouldn't they?
They're probably used to it.
Probably Sue would, yeah.
Does it become easier for you? Because we were at the opening for Monopoly in the prison, and you scared the living daylight out of me. You just came in, I had no idea what was going on, and all I heard was cooking. Had you rehearsed that? Had you written that down? Or was that just come to you?
No, that was thought up on the spot. That was.
Yeah, and you do that. You do that mostly, or
yeah, quite often. Yeah, people will ask me to do a cry, and sort of I just,
So how often? How many times a week, or how often are you crying, for the want of a better word?
It depends really, but I mean, on a good week, I'm probably out 4 or 5 times a week, if not more than that.
Yeah.
It really depends, because I mean, we open shops, close shops, launch cars, launch Monopoly.
Yeah. Go on podcasts.
Yeah, go on podcasts. Yeah. I do weddings, birthdays.
I was going to ask, do you do weddings?
Yeah, do a lot of those. I do a bridal alarm call where I turn up outside the bride's house at 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's a brilliant idea.
Be known that Martha Joyce is being married today. Yay,
that's excellent.
What'd be even better is for a divorce. That'd be Amanda says that she doesn't want you anymore.
I did propose to a lady once. I had a apart from proposing to I had a phone call from this guy who used to work at Rolls-Royce factory. He was a machinist there, and he said, "I want to propose to my girlfriend." But he said, basically he was frightened, but he didn't actually use those words. He said, "Would you propose to her for me?" And I said, "Well, yeah, can do if you like." I said, "Obviously, I've got to get the okay from the bosses." So I phoned the office, and they said, "Yeah, that'd be great. Do you mind if we have a photographer?" No, come in there. So the lad worked down on the machine floor, and his girlfriend worked in the offices. So I went up to the office, and somebody went in, opened the door, and I stood there, clang, 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 clang. "Oh yeah, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, John Roberts is deeply and madly in love with Felicity Burke and wants to know, will you marry him?" And she just went... I'm standing there for about 5 minutes, and I go, "Well?" And in the end, she said, "Yes." So I went back out onto the balcony, clang, clang, clang. "John," she says, "yes." And all these lads went, "Yeah."
That is such a cool idea.
And it was only about 2 years ago, I think it was. I was walking down Pride Hill, and this lady came over with this young girl, and she said, "Do you remember proposing to this girl at Rolls?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she pointed to this girl who was about 9 or something like that, and she said, "This is the result." So they'd obviously married and had a couple of kids,
Oh, brilliant.
Which I thought was brilliant.
Do you know what I would love to get you to do one day? Is the day I win the lottery. Is you can come into work and you'll be like, hey, Alex says you can all
go on holiday.
That is
but
awesome.
So I do also. I mean, I've even rung out somebody at a funeral.
Have you?
That's good. That's nice.
Which is again is a tradition that the town crier used to do.
Right.
One of the old guys in Shrewsbury who was he was a Gilder Freeman. He passed away, and he used to live Castle Square, Castle Courts. Mm-hmm. And so his family asked me if I do a cry for them. Mm. So I stood on the main street opposite the castle, and as the hearse came out from underneath the arches, I rang the bell. And it's amazing because the whole of the street just went quiet. Mm. Everybody stopped, and the hearse and the cars all sort of drove past. And as soon as they gone past, Sue and I belted across to the castle, jumped into our car. We had to go the long way around up to the crematorium.
Yeah.
So we were there to ring him into the crematorium as well, sort of thing, Yeah, there's a couple of guys working on the old co-op, and even they stopped and turned their radio off and just stood there for a couple of minutes. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's lovely. That is. Yeah.
So yeah, done all that. Cried during the earthquake that we had a few years ago.
Wow. The world is shaking. It's coming to an end.
Did the earth move for you? Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, I did Queen Mother's 100th birthday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was a brilliant one. That was.
So what? Down at the palace?
Yeah. We went down to London. There was about 40 of us went down, and we all went down to Buckingham Palace. And one of the criers had actually written a cry for the Queen Mother. And while we were all sort of standing around there, a police officer came over and he said, "Can I borrow you?" Heard about this policeman, and I said, "Yeah, sure. What do you want me to do?" And they said, "Well, we've actually changed the route slightly for the Queen Mother coming up from Clarence House." So he said, "Would you come down with me and just do a cry outside the gate?" So I said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I went off with him, and we're standing on the pavement, and we could see through the gates, and we're sort of getting into a carriage. And as the gates opened, the two soldiers that were in front of me just sort of parted. And this guy said, "Right, you're on." So I just stepped between them into the road, clang, 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 I said, "My lords, ladies and gentlemen, we're all gathered here today to celebrate the 100th birthday of Her Majesty the Queen Mother." And for some unknown reason, I don't know why, but I just started singing Happy Birthday. And everybody around me took it up as well. Oh, and she came out of Clarence House and she turned in front of me. She just looked straight at me and she said, "Thank you."
Oh, that's amazing.
Brilliant. Didn't invite me in for a cup of tea. She cleared off to her daughter for a bottle of fizz, But as she went down the mall, everybody started picking up this happy birthday, so it sort of followed her all the way down.
Well, you got to sing happy birthday at someone's birthday. It's not.
Well, yeah, of course you do. Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
That's excellent.
So
cool.
I mean, I get involved in all sorts of. Yeah,
do you know what I love about this interview so far? I've written down all these questions to answer, and just by chatting, we've just got the answers to a lot of them. And what I was going to ask is, in Shrewsbury, where is like the best place to like stand and do a cry? Or the best few places that you know?
Oh, that's a difficult one, really, because I mean there are two really. The Square, obviously, is a good one, and top of Pride Hill by the Cross, is another good one as well. Because when you actually do a cry, competition-wise or whatever, you're always looking around, sort of seeing what sort of buildings are there, things like that, because you know that although you've got all the judges, and the judges can be in front of you and sort of quite a distance away, you don't want to cry directly towards the judges. Right. Because if there's a wind around, then obviously as you're crying, the wind will take your voice away.
Ah, okay.
So what you have to do is, if there's a building with a lot of glass in it, then you cry towards that because you can bounce your voice off the glass. Or if there's water.
I've never known that.
Now he's just getting cocky. He's like,
it's all,
that's your technical knowledge coming out now, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, quite often some of the judges will actually be hidden, so we've no idea where they are. So what happens is that we'll walk around and interact with the crowds. And what we're actually doing is trying to spot these judges.
Right.
And you'll be sort of walking around and one of the other criers will go past and say, "He's in the doorway of Boots." Right, okay, fine. And you go around, he's in the doorway of such and such. So you know where the judges are when you go up.
That's brilliant.
We had one competition at Alcester, near Stratford. And the one judge we couldn't find, he was the volume judge. Nobody spotted him at all, And at the end of the competition, because obviously you're not allowed to talk to the judges.
Yeah.
But at the end of the competition, we're having a cup of tea, and we said, "Where was he?" And down the bottom of the road there was a church, and he was actually sitting on the top of the tower of the church.
Expectation.
You'd never know that,
So you haven't got a clue. So the Square is good because there's a good bit of sort of glass around there on the left-hand side. You can bounce away. Top of Pride Hill is brilliant.
Have you ever had a moment when you've gone, "Ding, ding, have you had any squeaks? Any funny?
Not with the. My voice has gone a couple of times. Which, if it does, you just don't do a cry. Because obviously you don't want to feel it. I have done a cry once when I forgot the mayor's name. Which is a little bit embarrassing.
I imagine.
And that was when Vernon Bushell was mayor of Shrewsbury, and it was when the Pride Hill Shopping Centre was celebrating its first birthday. And the idea was that we met the mayor at the front door, took him down, and there used to be a flight of stairs in the middle of the centre.
What, where the escalators are now?
Yeah, well, they went down between the escalators.
Okay, yeah.
Opposite the lift. And the idea was Mayor Bushell would sort of stand at the top of the stairs. I'd go down to the sort of the mid-level, do this shout, and then he was going to come down onto the sort of the lower level. Huge, great big cake. She was going to cut, and then we were going to give all the pieces out to all the kids. Mm-hmm. So he stood at the top of the stairs. I went down, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, we're all gathered here to celebrate the first birthday of the Pride Hill Shopping Centre. Would you please welcome the Mayor of Shrewsbury, Councillor... And do you think I could get his name? And I'm just standing there and thinking, what the hell? And then, I thought, Bushell, that's it, Councillor Bushell. And as he came past, he just grinning from ear to ear. And he walked past me, he said, it's Vernon. All right, thank you very much, you did.
Well, at least he took it well.
He did, yeah, he did. But I did get a letter from the then chief executive saying that sort of, he realised, of course, that I was quite busy, but it would help if I actually remembered the name of the mayor.
Brilliant.
How do you cope on the bad days? The days when you just like, I don't know who, maybe hungover or something. You just want to go to the shop for a bottle of milk, and there's somebody like, "Can you do I know who you."
Yeah, so sometimes it does get like that. Sometimes you just want to sort of go and hide, But then you think, well, no. I mean, I don't mind people coming up and saying hello and doing stuff. I mean, I think that gives me a buzz anyhow.
Yeah, of course.
It used to really sort of what's it me off every now and again when I was younger. People used to come and say, what's the weather like up there? Which I got all the time,
Drunk lads, big man, give us a cry.
Yeah. But, you get used to it, and it's just something you have to...
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You just fop it all off, really.
Yeah.
But
on days when you're not crying, you didn't have no crying to do. Do you like get dressed up and you're like, let's just go for a walk around town and cheer some tourists up? Do you not do that?
No, not really, because I'm always out, I suppose. I mean, my sort of general days off are sort of looking after Sue and shopping.
So have you played the Shrewsbury Monopoly game yet then?
We haven't had time to play.
Mind you, it wasn't that long ago, was it, the launch? So
no, we did see him playing it on the...
Oh, actually, but you didn't... what I meant is play it at home.
Did Grace actually... Was it Grace, the girl that was winning?
I can't remember her name.
Did she win? Did she win?
Well, I think we sort of gave in to her gracefully. Mind you, when
is that how long it went on for?
It was about 2 hours.
And that was a short game, wasn't it? Because they'd sort of rigged
I mean, she had got sort of 6 houses and about...
She had hotels, didn't she, on the sort of the Darwin...
I mean, I landed on one of hers one. Oh, she says, you owe me £1,600. I thought, stuff this for a minute.
I've got 5 ones left. You can have them.
If that, Take an IOU. No, okay, fine. So we all gave in gracefully. I mean, obviously the mayor was playing it as well, but he spent most of his time in jail.
Oh, that's funny.
Well done, Phil.
Which was nice of him, But,
you two go back, don't you? You and Phil.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
When we had Phil on the show, he mentioned that you two grew up together.
Yeah. Phil and I were at the same school.
Yeah.
We both went to Belvedere, and we were great mates during our school years. Then obviously Phil went on to do his journalism, so we kept sort of running into each other occasionally. Not very often. And then, of course, he's mayor for this year, which is great because we've sort of met up again and sort of, rekindle.
But you guys see each other a lot on the road because
yes, we'd always, sort of, I'll be at an event and you sort of, see the mayor's car arrive. I think, oh, nobody told me he was here. Yeah. Okay, fine. Here we go. Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Hello. We see each other.
That's really nice. That's really nice. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Right, if you could name, say, three top memorable moments for Shrewsbury, 3 things that you've done for Shrewsbury that you think, I can't believe I just did that.
Oh, how long have you got? Only 3.
Only 3. Wow.
I think. Well,
you was going to go for name 1, but
name 1. Yeah, gosh. I think one of the best ones I've done for Shrewsbury is when I won the Welsh National Championship for the 7th time in a row. And then they told me not to darken their doors again.
Get out and don't come back.
They gave me the trope and they said, we don't want to see you again, clear off. No, I mean, I think every time I go out and do a cry in town, is a top cry, really.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's a difficult one to quantify that, really, I suppose. I mean, I love taking people. Well, I mean, I love meeting people. Mm-hmm. I love taking people around the town. Mm-hmm. And hand on heart, I love taking the Americans round because you can tell them anything you like and they'll believe it.
They really do love our history, though.
Yes. Oh. My wife's giving me hand signals here. Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. Shh, be quiet, be quiet. I love taking people around. Showing them and telling them all about the history of the town.
Yeah.
One thing that really gets on my goat is when you get these people who say, Shrewsbury's boring and there's nothing to do.
I had that on the show.
Yeah, and I think, give me an hour and I'll take you around town and I'll show you what we've got. What we had. Yeah. I mean, the amount of history that we've got in Shrewsbury is absolutely unbelievable.
It's phenomenal, isn't it?
I think that's becoming a lot easier though with like the World Wide Web, people and YouTube and things like that. People are really I've noticed a lot of younger people are really starting to get into like history now.
Yeah.
They're really starting to enjoy it. I imagine there's quite a few young people that would have been really annoyed about what happened with the Dana Bridge, the graffiti, protecting it and stuff. I mean, there's a few that probably would have partaken, probably obviously did it, but it's a very pride-filled town, and that's what I love about this place. Yeah. I think that's probably my draw to doing what I do, because I've lived in places, Telford and Wrexham, where people are proud, but not like on the scale of Shrewsbury.
Oh gosh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean, we've got so much. We've got so much going for us.
Yeah.
I mean, and there really is an amazing amount. And, people say, they go off abroad on holiday and stuff like that. And I said, why don't you just spend a couple of days in Shrewsbury walking around? And they do. They come around, they come on one of the tours, and probably Stan said the same thing, that you show them something and they say, oh, we never knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we didn't know that was here. I mean, I was taking a group of gentlemen from a round table, I think it was, taking them around town. We start from the square, and I was pointing out where the Edinburgh Woolen Mill shop is on the opposite side, telling them all about the history of the building, and I showed them the 4 statues on the very top. And the one guy was there and he said, do you know something? He said, I've worked in Shrewsbury for 27 years and I've never seen those. And I said, yeah, but I said, when people are walking through town, I said, they don't look up. He said,
there's that famous saying.
But he said, it's not that. But he said, my office, he said, is on the top floor of the building opposite.
So he actually...
He said, I'm actually level with them. And he said, I've never seen them.
We quite a few shows ago now, Shane, Alex and I were having a conversation. We was talking about that with the whole concept of going around Shrewsbury. And we always just look up. Yeah. Look up, because there's so much well above eye level.
Gosh, yes.
That people would never ever know about.
No.
I bet it's probably easier for you, though. I mean,
Yes, I am a little bit higher than most people. Yeah.
Sure, short ass like me, I've got to get the binoculars out.
Get the binoculars out. Pat them all on the head. Oh, look, I'll just polish this one up.
I've got one more question to ask you before we let you go.
Right.
That is, I ask it to everybody in the show. And what does Shrewsbury mean to you?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. It's everything really. I mean, it's a place to live. It's a place to work. The people are so friendly here. You get good chocolates when you do a podcast.
Well done, Laura.
Drink of water, not coffee, but drink of water. But never mind. No, it's the town just buzzes for me.
Buzzes.
And it's just a nice place to be. You could find as many words as you could possibly think of to describe it, and you wouldn't get to the bottom of them all.
You at the moment you personify Shrewsbury. When people think of Shrewsbury, they think the town is the tallest town crier. Locals here just
we've got a lot. You see, because we've got the tallest town crier. Looking out through your window now at the column, that's the tallest one in the world.
Yeah,
we've got the tallest MP in the world. Well, tallest MP in the country, anyhow. If he comes back, if he gets re-elected, we used to have the tallest couple in the world.
Did we?
Yeah. Until they sadly parted company.
Do it for the fans, man. Do it for the fans.
We got we have we believe we've got the tallest chef in the country as well.
Who's that?
It's the lad who works at Egos, of the Grape Sean.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's we reckon we were chatting one day and we thought he was probably the tallest chef.
How tall's he then?
He's about 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
Okay, which in itself is, I suppose, isn't
well to shorter people.
Yeah, that is obviously
quite
significant.
Tall,
But like you say, as a chef as well, if it's
for someone that's 7'2", like shorty.
For the rest of us, that's still really tall.
Yeah. So we've got all we've got all these. We've got the dingle, we've got the maltings, which is the first time frame building in the world, and we've got all these firsts.
Yeah, of course.
Which again, a lot of people don't realise.
And it's all about innovation, isn't it? And trying new things. And I think that's what the Darwin Festival tries to do in February. It tries to try and re-jog that because all of these people that have done these firsts. There's one person that's done that, and then another person's come and done that. And we need a new Charles Darwin. We need so I don't know.
Yeah, we could do it, but no, the town itself,
Well, do you know what? Thank you so much for your service to this town.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
you bring a smile to people's faces.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And you know what? These amazing things that you've spoken about today, doing funerals, proposing to women.
I like that bit.
Not just random people down the street. But you know what? You bring a smile to people's face. You bring a smart culture to this town, and you do it tremendously. So from everybody, from the town, thank you very much for what you do.
It's my pleasure,
and I hope you've got a good few more years left in you.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. So somebody once said to me, when are you going to retire? And I said, when they put the last nail in the lid of the coffee. And I think I might give up then.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
I'd love to get you on again. I'll get you and Phil on. You can argue about the Flying Scotsman.
Good idea. Yes. See, I'm sure he's still got it somewhere in one of his cupboards. I'll have him one day.
Brilliant. Julie, have you got anything to add before we get out of here?
No, I think it's again brilliant interview. It's a great insight into understanding what a town crier's role is, and but obviously how big it is.
Yeah,
I just didn't realise.
Absolutely threw me off.
If you're ever travelling around and you meet up with another, you spot another town crier, just say, we know Martin. Oh, him.
And do you know what? It'd be very rude of us to go about offering you the opportunity to tell people where they can find you if they want to, hire your services, or
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if anybody needs me, they just look for towncriermartin.com.
Yeah.
Got a website.
Yep.
And they'll find me on that. I'll find a few pictures on there of me doing silly things, launching trains and doing all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. But yeah, just go for towncriermartin.com.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I have another chocolate?
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah.
Please do.
Another chocolate,
I
yeah.
think it's fair to say, Laura and Rich, they are a success.
They are.
I've had two so far.
I mean, I've been sitting here throughout this entire interview drooling over these. I think, which one am I going to have now?
Yeah.
They're in high demand, actually, Lefevre Chocolates.
Yeah, they are.
I've actually got quite deep pockets. I mean, if we can sort of, tip a couple in and take them home with us. Yeah.
Oh, God. Listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
And if you have any comments for us to pass on to Martin, if you have any suggestions for the show, any messages from me or Julie or Shane, drop us a line. You can email us. Our email is shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And, this has been a great episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, really good. Thank you. And thank you, Sue, as well, for coming along.
Yeah, thank you, Sue. You're looking amazing with the
Yeah, viewers can't
Christmas
see, well,
decorations.
viewers, listeners can't see this, obviously.
Yeah.
I've taken pictures. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I've got pictures, so they'll go out on the Facebook page as well. So.
We've got to try and get a selfie somehow now of all four of us.
Yeah, I've the angle we're sitting at and the space, I've managed to get sort of a 3 and then a 2, so I haven't got a 4.
Great side angles of me.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you stay safe and peace out. We'll catch you next week.